Thiruchitrambalam, Hara Hara Nama Parvati, Badaye Hara Hara Mahadeva, Sitsavesa, Sivasidambaram, Tenarude Sivane, Putri, Natarkum Reva, Putri, Thiruchitrambalam, எடுக்கும் மக்கதை இந்த மிழ்ச்செய்யுளாய் நடக்கும் மேன்மை நமக்கருள் செய்திட தடக்கை ஐந்துடை தாழ்செவி நீள்முடி கடக்களிற்றை கருத்துள் இருத்துவாம். உலகலா உணர்ந்தோதற்கரியவன் நிலவுலாவிய நிர்மலிவேணியன் அலையில் சோதியன் அம்பலத்து ஆடுவான் மலர் சிலம்படி வாழ்த்தி வணங்குவான். சைவத்தின் மேற் சமயம் வேறிலை அதில் சிவமாம் தெய்வத்தின் மேற் தெய்வம் இல்லனம் நான்மறை செம்பொருள் வாய்மை வைத்த சீர் திருத்தேவாரமும் திருவாசகமும் உய்வை தரச் செய்த நால்வர் பொற்றாள் எம்முயிர் துணையே. தில்லை வாழந்தனரை முதலாக சீர்படைத்த துல்லையதாம் திருத்தொண்ட தொகையடியார் பதம் போற்றி உல்லையவர் புராணகதை உலகறிய விரித்து உரைத்த செல்வமலி குன்றத்தூர் செக்கிழார் அடி போற்றி. ஆதாரமாகிய மாணிக்க வாசகர் பாதார விந்தம் வடிவம் பண்டு செய்த தீதான பாவங்கள் எல்லாம் தீர்ந்து ஞானோதயம் அந்த கூட்டிடுமே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். Welcome back to the Periyapuranam Discourse series, dear devotees. By the grace of the Almighty Lord Shiva, today we are going to think through the wonderful history of Empiran Enathinatha nayanar, Puranam. Let me pay my obeisance to the lotus feet of David Chekla Swamigal and 57th Pontiff of Punapati Kalyanapuri Adina, Sri Rajasarana Manikasaya Swamigal as well. With the blessings of the Almighty Lord Shiva, let's go ahead and get started with Empiran Enathinatha nayanar, Puranam. In Periyapuranam, there are two Nayanmars who gave their life for Thiruvedam, the holy ash, if you see here. Number one, Nayanar, who gave his life. He didn't fight back when Muttanathan came in the form of a Shiva devotee, and then when he tried to do what he wanted to do, he didn't fight back. He protected the justice of Shaivism and said he had holy ash on his forehead. He's part of us, one of our devotees. And he ensured that Muttanathan was safely returned back to his place. Similarly, Enathinatha nayanar history also pretty much similar to what we have discussed in Maypur Purana. Pretty much the same. Enathinatha nayanar also gave his life for Thiruvedam. The enemy was wearing holy ash on his forehead, tried to attack him. Nayanar just thought, sure devotee, how can I fight back? And he went down another level by making sure that his enemy did not get any sin by attacking an unknown person. Just like how Maypur ensured that he ordered Tattanar, his bodyguard, and made sure that no one hurts him. He wanted to ensure that he safely reached the outskirts of his city. Similarly, Enathinatha nayanar as well ensured that the enemy, just because he had holy ash on his forehead, he didn't want him to get another sin by killing an unarmed man. So we're going to discuss that in detail. So Enathinatha nayanar, he was from a place called Ainanur. Ainanur was part of Chola's country. The nayanar was born in the race of Ila Kulachandra, Ila community. It's basically the community that served in the armed forces of Chola Empire. So Nayanar was a staunch devotee of Lord Shiva. He considered any devotee of Lord Shiva as Lord Shiva himself, because whenever he sees anyone with holy ash on his forehead, he will just see him as Lord Shiva. He had that intense level of love for holy ash. And as he was from the Senadipati type of community and who served in armed forces, Nayanar has excelled in fencing. So fencing means it's a sport of fighting with long and thin swords. He excelled in that sport and became a trainer to coach armed troops of the king to deliver victories to Chola's kingdom. As Nayanar was a very well trained, he was very well trained and had a vast knowledge about warfare. He established a training center in his city for fencing and sword fight. So many young men joined Nayanar's training center, and they became his disciples and enjoyed learning the art of fencing from Nayanar. As the senior most expert in fencing, he was obliged to give all his material income, everything that he earned through his training of fencing and fencing and other armed related training. He gave everything, all the material, back to the servants of Lord Shiva. So all the material income that he earned, he gave it back to the servants of Lord Shiva, because he always he always thought that the main purpose of this life was to worship Shiva and to serve the servants of Lord Shiva devotees. In the same town, there was another envious man called Adisuran, who was also an expert in fencing. He was also running another training center for fencing. He was an envious man, and he always thought no one was better than him. And but in his training center, he had a very few students join his session. Not much interest from most of the students to learn from him. But on the other side, Enathinatha Nayanar training center was heavily crowded. More and more people started joining Enathinatha Nayanar training center to learn the great sport of fencing. So it was like Nayanar was like an oyster holding a precious pearl, while Adisuran felt like an oyster with no pearl. So naturally, he started losing his wealth and became extremely jealous of Enathinatha. Then one day, Adisuran went to meet with Enathinatha Nayanar, and he said, there is no need to have two different training centers in the city for teaching the same art of fencing. Why don't we just fight it out? Then what? He was already ready to fight. He brought in his troops, his disciples with him, and then he asked Nayanar to fight against him. Then he said, let's fight it out. The one who wins would run the training center in the city going forward, and he would continue to be the only teacher in this town. Enathinatha Nayanar replied, he said, that's okay, good proposal. I agreed to this. Let's get going. So both teachers, Nayanar with his disciples, and Adisuran with his disciples, fought it out on a day and in a very vast open area. Adisuran group was defeated completely. They lost the fight, and especially Adisuran took to heels and went into hiding. He ran away from the battlefield. He couldn't stand against Nayanar and his troops. The days rolled out into weeks and months, but the enmity did not reduce from Adisuran's mind. Then Adisuran, who ran away from the battlefield, lying down on the floor with a lot of broken honor, kept thinking about the disgrace happened to him. He was already an envious man, and he just couldn't tolerate the disgrace he had to go through, because he lost the fight. He initiated the fight, but he lost it. There is no way he can run the training center again. So he couldn't sleep, tormented the whole night, then decided to win Enathinatha Nayanar by treachery. The same evil thought that Muttanathan had for Maipur Nayanar. Adisuran also decided he knew that he would never ever defeat Nayanar in the battlefield. So he wanted to do this, still do this, by a flawed act of deceit. And he knew very well that Nayanar loves holy ash. His respect for the person smeared with holy ash, he knew that very well. So he decided, if I call him for a fight and I enter the battlefield with holy ash all smeared all over my body, I don't think he will fight against me, so I can kill him. So that was his evil thought. Then he sent Nayanar a message again with a new proposal. He said, there's no point in getting more people killed just because of the fight between two of us. Why don't just two of us have 1-to-1? Let's fight it out between ourselves and decide who will continue to teach in the city and who won't. Enathinatha Nayanar accepted the proposal and was fired. He wanted to fight back again. And then a venue, time, and day were fixed. And both of them agreed to fight on a specific day. The day came in. On the day of the showdown, what Adisuran did was he smeared his body with a bright white holy ash and also his forehead, but he covered it with his armor and shield, so no one could see it. Because he wanted Nayanmar to come to the battlefield. If Nayanmar sees him wearing a holy ash, he won't even start the fight. So he wanted Nayanar to start the fight with him, and then would reveal that his smeared body with holy ash. Then Enathinatha Nayanar came to the battlefield. The fight started. Nayanar fought valorously, pouncing and leaping, while Adisuran fought hesitatingly. At one point in time, Nayanar was about to swing his sword to kill Adisuran. Almost he was going to lose it. Suddenly, Adisuran exposed his body smeared with holy ash. And then he also showed his full face, where you could see holy ash on his forehead. Nayanar was shocked and surprised to see the holy ash smear over his body and forehead. The Nayanar was overcome by his love for Shiva and devotees. He became kind, compassionate towards his mortal enemy immediately. With the moment he saw the holy ash on his forehead and all over his body, he became kind, compassionate right away. That was a thing we should learn from 63 Nayanars. They put Shaivism first, the likes and dislikes second. It's a rule that you must respect a person who smear his body with holy ash. The Nayan was talking to himself. Wow, I have been fighting with Adisuran, thinking he was my enemy, but now I see that he's a devotee of Shiva. He smeared his body with holy ash. How can I fight with the devotee? I cannot fight with him anymore. But if I drop down my weapon, and also holding the sword, he will still, I think he has done this just to defeat me. That was his intention. So at least he went ahead and decided to wear a holy ash just to defeat me. I'm still happy. I saw the holy ash on his forehead. But if I drop my weapon, Adisuran, Shiva devotee, will get a sin for killing an unarmed man. I don't want that to happen to him. You see the intense love Nayanar had for Shiva devotees. He knew he's going to be killed in a few minutes. Not going to fight back. In the meantime, he still didn't want anything bad to happen to the person who was just wearing a holy ash. And then, so Nayanar did not drop his weapon. He was just acting like as if he was fighting. And then he did not attack Adisura any further. Adisura took this opportunity to attack Nayanar. And then he did what he wanted to do. He killed him. And then immediately a brilliant light appeared on the sky. That Lord Shiva, Mahadevi, over the Nandi Deva, he appeared, and then Swami blessed Nayanar for his true love on holy ash, and then took him to Kailash. The holy ash, the love on holy ash gave Nayanar a glorious life after life. Nayanar got rid of the endless cycle of births and deaths and attained the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. So moral of the story. We have also discussed about this in Periyapuranam Puranam. The holy ash plays a critical role in Shaivism. Anyone who wears the holy ash, we should see him as Shiva devotee. That's what we learn from Periyapuranam. Nayanar, Enathinatha Nayanar gave their life, but they actually defeated the enemy. The enemy thought he had defeated them, but they defeated the enemy by holding the justice of Shaivism. Even he was an enemy, he had holy ash on his forehead, they saw him as a devotee of Lord Shiva. So their likes and dislike did not come into play. The rules of Shaivism come first. That's what we learn from Periyapuranam. So two Nayanar gave up their lives for this holy ash, Vibhuti, and we also discussed about it, the greatness of Vibhuti. Thiruneeru, the Saint Trinyasapta Swamigal, has composed a Padigam fully dedicated for the greatness of Thiruneeru, holy ash, Mandiramavadu Neeru, Vanavar Meladu Neeru, Sundaramavadu Neeru, Tudikkapaduvadu Neeru, Tangiramavadu Neeru, Samayathil Ulla Neeru, Sindhuvar Vayumai Pangathiru Alavayan Thiruneere. And every single particle of the Tripuntra equals a Shivalika. Shiva Pranam says. So holy ash is very, very auspicious to us. So anyone, and even if you're on the road, you just see somebody wearing holy ash, immediately you should think of Lord Shiva. What we learn in Periyapuranam, we must apply in our day-to-day life. All right. So with that said, let's end the session for today. Tomorrow we will go through the wonderful history of Bhakta Kannappa Nayanar, Empiran Nayanar, Thiruchitrambalam. Thiruchitrambalam என்றும் இன்பம் பெருகும் ஏற்ப ஒன்று காதலித்து உள்ளம் ஓங்கிட மன்றுளார் அடியார் அவர் வான்புகழ் நின்றது எங்கும் நிலவி உலகெல்லாம் திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். ஹர ஹர நம பார்வதி பதையே ஹர ஹர மகாதேவா. சிற்சபேசா சிவசிதம்பரம் தென்னாருடைய சிவனே போற்றி, எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் நிறைவா போற்றி. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். எம்பிரான் ஏனாதிநாத நாயனார் மலரடிகள் போற்றி போற்றி.